Hey there, it's Case. Got a message on faith for you today. Faith. I was sitting here listening to Brother Jesse Duplantis, and he talked about how God is more than enough. That also happens to be the name of our church, El Shaddai Christian Fellowship, which also means God is more than enough. Immediately, I got to thinking about how I recently received a gift of a pretty large financial gift, and I got the gift. Now, the gift was fantastic. It was great, but there was still other things I needed to pay and things like that. So it didn't cover everything, but it was still a great gift. And I was sitting there going, now, when God provided that for me, now God, He has no limit and no bounds. So He could have given me all the money that I needed at that time, right? But He gave me a certain amount of money. And that amount of money was more than enough. Now I was sitting there going, Lord, how is that more than enough? And He reminded me how the story that I often tell about how I was $20 short on my rent one time. And I had to make a choice because my tithe was $20 that particular time. And I knew if I paid my tithe, then my rent was going to be short. And so I was sitting there going, Lord, what do I do? And I'm a new creature in Christ, and I'm learning about this Bible and learning about this Christian walk. And when talking with God, I knew that I had to make a faith decision. So my decision was, I'm going to pay this $20 in tithe, come what may. I was going to please God first instead of just worrying about the rent. Well, it was on a Saturday, and I had to go to a men's meeting, so I went to the men's meeting at the church. And when I went to the men's meeting, one of the brothers said, hey, Brother Casey, do you need some money? Now, I know this brother, I'm not trying to sound like I'm a big shot, nothing, and plus I did need $20, but I also knew that I had generally more money than this person on the average. I don't know how else to put it, but I generally had more money than him. And here he was offering to see if I needed more money. And so, I guess you could say prideful, I kind of told him, nah, I'm good, brother, I'm good. And he was kind of quiet. He went on about his business. Went on through the men's meeting. We had prayer at the end and everything, and I grabbed my Bible, and at this time, I believe I was riding a bus, I think I was riding a bus. But anyway, I ended up going back home. And when I got back home, I opened up my Bible, and there was a $20 bill in it. There was a $20 bill in my Bible. And I knew then God gave me that money. Sure, there's a good chance that young man put that $20 in there. I don't know. But I know that money was in there, and it wasn't in there when I left. And so, because it had no reason to be, because I would have paid my tithe the next day, right? And I used to put my tithe in an envelope and everything, so you get credit for it for taxes, right? And so, I had no reason to take that $20 with me and put it in my Bible. So anyway, I don't keep money in my Bible anyway. So that $20 was more than enough, because I've told that story a million times to many people. But also, the very vehicle that I'm riding in, my wife and I rented it way back in, I think, 2017 or so. Maybe even 16, I'm not sure. But I went to go see, to Oklahoma to help a buddy, Michi, and her husband, and the Beers at an event. And we went to Oklahoma, and we rented the truck, and this is the truck they gave us. And we fell in love with it. Boy, we're like, boy, this is awesome. But we knew how much they cost. And we didn't think we could, we knew we couldn't afford it at that time. Well, 2 years later, I'm at a baseball game, and we meet a guy who's an auto broker. And we told him we were trying to get a hold of this truck, told him the situation. He said, man, I can get you that truck. Just let me see what I can do. We told him exactly what we wanted in the truck, down to the, everything, exactly what we wanted the truck to be. It took him about a month or so, maybe a month and a half, and he found the truck in San Diego, and he had it shipped out to us, and we got the truck about $6,000 off of MSRP, and we had a trade in, and so it was just a blessing. So we ended up getting the truck 2 years later that we dreamed of, but we got it through faith because the car note was still kind of high. But we just believed God that this was the time, and since then we've paid this truck off and everything. But this truck probably doesn't happen if I don't go through what I went through with that $20 and my rent or paying tithe and offering. I learned about faith then, and I used faith all the way through my Christian walk leading up to this truck. There was another situation where I did not have a car, but I got a job that was 45 minutes from my house, and I had no credit. Didn't even have a bank account at the time. And so, but I needed a car, and this was on a Friday, and I needed to be at work on Monday. And just so happened that Pastor Shell at the time, we were just dating. She wasn't my wife yet, but she saw an advertisement for a dealership that helps people with bad credit, which I had at that time. And so we just took a shot. We went out there, and the next thing you know, we came home, and I had a car. Now, my car wasn't going to be available because they were going to work on it to get it right for me. And so they would have it ready for me on Tuesday. And so, but I had to be at work Monday. So, with no credit or anything, I was able to find a place where I could rent a car. So I rented a car for one day, and I drove myself to work on that Monday in a rented car. Backing up again, remember, I had no credit, no bank account, yet I bought a car and rented a car that same weekend and drove myself to my job that was 45 minutes away, which I wouldn't have taken if I wouldn't have operated in faith, believing God that he was going to supply a way for me to get there. But where did it begin? Largely with that $20 in my Bible, teaching me how to operate in faith. Faith is not what you know. I can't say that. I guess I can. It's not what you know. It's not the facts. It's not what you believe. Faith is what you trust in God. And you can say what you believe in God. And it's not even about your experience in a sense, because faith is always raising your experience level. So you keep building upon your faith. And so, yeah, God really blessed. And so I was just sitting and listening to Brother Jesse, and how I got a substantial gift a couple months ago. It didn't cover everything I needed. But I was sitting to think, if God's more than enough, how come he didn't cover all of it? But what he did was, with what he did send me, it went a long way. It's been more than enough in a lot of ways, because he gave it to me when I wasn't expecting it. And it was right when I needed it. So he's let me know that he is more than involved in my life, which means more than enough to me. You see? So God always wants you to give you his best. But his best is really the best that he can give you for where you're at a certain point in your life. I gotta think about that some more. Because he's a God that has no limit. But when he gives you his best, it's really what's best for you at that time. Really. What's best for you. And keep it in mind, God says, no eye have seen, no ears heard what God has for them that love him. And so whatever you can imagine, he wants more than that for you. So I just encourage you that whatever you may want or desire in your life, just remember to take it to God first. Lord, this is what I want, or this is what I need, or this is what's happening. Can you fix it, or whatever it is? Then Make a conscious decision to leave it with Him. And know that He's got you, because He is more than enough. And He loves for His children to come to Him, especially in this world right now when everybody's trying to, well, somewhat, turn their back on Him. And He got one little person down there going, Lord, I need you, or Lord, can you provide this for me? Don't you think He wants to open up the gates and floods of heaven to pour out His blessings upon you? And He says that you would when you pay your tithe and your offering. He said to give you more than you can handle. Your cup's going to overflow. You're going to have more than enough. So anyway, closing this out. It's getting kind of long, but it's just an encouragement to just believe God.